Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Kill Team Battle Report. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here from Savannah Lion Games in Pooler, Georgia, where I'll be fighting a kill team battle between my Adeptus Astartes and Jason's Death Guard. So the story that we've got going on here is that a Dark Angels tactical squad was on patrol through this area when they got struck with a missile, and the Rhino went up in flames, taking them out. They lost contact with the Vox. The Vox had gone down, and there was they didn't know exactly where they were, and they weren't sure how to get back to their lines. So a Blood Angels scout squad happened to be in the area scouting out the situation, and they were sent in to go help the Dark Angels get back to safety, back to friendly lines. And the Death Guard are going to do their dangdest to try to keep them from doing so. We are going to be playing the ambush narrative mission. Essentially what it is I am the defender. I can set up my kill team here, basically from the half, 6 inches, a 6-inch column down the middle here to the halfway mark, and my opponent was able to set up anywhere that was outside of 8 inches from my kill team, or from my deployment zone. And at the end of the game, if more of my guys have escaped, because what happens is I can actually leave off of that table edge over there. If more of my guys have escaped than haven't, then I win. Otherwise, he wins as the attacker. So I'm just trying to get all of my guys off of the table edge. He's just trying to keep me from getting off of the table edge, killing me or whatnot. So when my guys leave, they don't count as having died, but that's just how the game goes. I'm also, because of the way the mission is, I'm actually allowed to take 20 points more. So I have 120 points. He has a 100-point kill team, and that's just the reality. That's just how the mission is worked out. So that is the mission, and that is the story that we've got going on. We'll show you the 2 kill teams now. So for the Space Marines, my kill team will consist of a leader who is a scout sergeant with a chainsword and bolt pistol. I then have a tactical marine gunner with a heavy bolter who is going to be my heavy specialist. I then have a tactical marine gunner with a melt-a-gun who will be my sniper specialist. I then have a tactical marine sergeant with a chainsword and bolt pistol who will be my combat specialist. I then have 2 tactical marines with bolters and 4 scouts with bolters. Then for the Death Guard, his kill team will consist of a Plague Champion with a Power Fist and Plasma Pistol. We then have a Plague Marine Fighter who will be his Zealot Specialist with a Flail of Corruption. We then have a Plague Marine Fighter with a Great Plague Cleaver who will be his Combat Specialist. We then have a Plague Marine Gunner with a Plague Spewer who will be his Demolitions Expert. And then we have another Plague Marine Gunner with a Plague Spewer. All right, so going over deployment, I've got my leader back over here. I've got a scout right here. I then have my heavy specialist. I've got my tactical marine, my sniper specialist, and then I've got my other tactical marine. I've got my combat specialist up there, and then we've got 3 other tactical marines in there. Going over deployment for the Death Guard, we've got his Zealot Specialist back over here with the flail. We've got that's the Demolitions Expert with the Plague Spewer. We then have the Plague Champion over here. We have his other Combat Specialist back in here, and then we have the other Plague Spewer back over here. So that is the deployment. As of right now, we will roll to see who has the initiative here on turn 1. I rolled a 3, my opponent rolled a 9, so we will come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 1. All right, going over movement phase, all of his guys moved up here, so his Plague Spewer with Demolitions moved up to cover behind this barrier here. His other Plague Spewer moved up over here, the Champion moved up beside him, and both of his fighters moved up, getting a little bit closer to the choke point going down the middle there. So that is going to be it for the movement phase for the Death Guard. Here we will come back to you after movement phase for the Adeptus Astartes. All right, movement phase for the Adeptus Astartes here. He advanced up over this way. He moved up over here. These 2 guys moved up over here. He moved up over here. The heavy bolter guy here readied himself, as did this bolter scout. My combat specialist will be charging, so we're going to get to that in a second. This bolter marine moved up over there, and my leader stayed still back over here. So now we're going to have the charge from my leader, my combat specialist here, into his plague spear over here. I do not have, he does not have line of sight, so he doesn't get to overwatch. But would you like to fall back at all, or are you going to try to hold your position?
I'll hold.
He's going to hold. So his charge distance, getting 8 inches. I don't think that's enough to get in. All right, I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll that. So I need a 9-inch charge. No, he is not getting in. All right, so that is it for the movement phase. Into the shooting phase, I have a couple guys who are readied, so they get precedence over his guys. So we're going to go with my heavy bolter guy here, who's going to fire into his plague spear over there. All 3 shots are going to go into him. I'm -1 to hit because he's obscured, but he's within half range, so I'm not -1 for that. These are going to be hitting on 4s. All right, getting 4 hits. These are going to be wounding on 4s because they're T5. Getting 1 wound, AP -1, so a 4-up save. No, goes through. How many wounds do they have? Oh, disgustingly resilient. No, how many wounds are they?
1.
They're 1 wound each, so injury roll. Takes a flesh wound. And now my scout here is going to fire into the same guy over there. 2 shots hitting on 4s because he's obscured but within half range, so that's why it's rapid fire. Getting 1 hit, wounding on a 5. That's not a wound. All right, so now his plague spear is going to start off by shooting into my guys over here. So he rolls his D6, see how many shots he gets. Going to get 2 shots. You're going to put 1 and 1. He's going to put 1 into each of them. So we'll do into the bolter guy first. So it's strength. That's a wound. AP. No, 1 second. All right, so it's -1. So looking for a 4-up save. And I make it. Woo! Another 1 into the melta. That is a wound. That is a save, though, with a filfers. All right, so now my bolter guy here is going to fire into his plague spear over there. He is obscured, but within half range, so 2 shots hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit, wounding on a 5. No, no wound. All right, so now this plague spear is going to activate and fire into my scout over here. D6 shots, getting 3 shots. These are going to be wounding on 3s. Getting 2 wounds. Reroll, but he's not obscured, so... from your guy there.
Oh, plague weapon gets rerolled.
Oh, plague weapon. Sorry, plague weapon gets to reroll 1s. All right, so that is going to be 3 wounds. I forgot 1 extra dice over this side. So 3 AP -1, so 3 5-up saves. Make none of them, so you get 1 injury roll here. And 4, he is out of action. And now this bolter guy here is going to fire into his plague spear over there. 2 shots hitting on 4s. Getting 2 hits, wounding on 5s. Getting 1 wound. AP nothing, so 3-up save. He's good.
Bolter first. That's bad.
All right, so now his leader here, his aspiring champion. Aspiring champion, that guy, right? He's going to fire his plasma gun. I misspoke in the intros. He's got a plasma gun. He's going to fire into these guys over here. He's going to put 1 shot into each because they're within 12 inches. So he is going to supercharge, and we're going to go into the first guy there. So the first guy into the bolter guy, hitting on a 4 because he's obscured, but within half range. No hit there, but doesn't blow up, which is nice. And now into the melta-gun guy. That is also not a hit, but also doesn't blow up. He's going to spend a command point to re-roll that one there because he really wants to kill that melta-gun guy. No, and he kills himself. All right, so now my melta guy here is going to fire into his plague spear over on this side. He is more than half range, and he is and he is obscured. So I'm going to be hitting on a 5. That is not a hit. My scout over here is going to fire into the injured plague spear over there. He's going to have 2 shots here, hitting on 4s because he is obscured. Getting 1 hit. Not getting a wound. Okay. And my scout here is going to fire into his plague spear injured guy over there. Getting 1 shot here. It's going to be hitting on a 5. That is not a hit. All right, so that's the end of turn 1 there. We don't have any leadership tests to take because the one guy who has a flesh wound, he's only got 1 guy out, so he can't fail his nerve test. So that is going to be it for turn 1 here. We'll come, and now we're going to roll to see who has the initiative for turn 2. I rolled an 8. My opponent rolled a 10, so we'll come back to you after a movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 2. All right, movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn 2. His 2 guys with Plague Spewers readied themselves. His guy with the flail advanced his way over this way. His guy with the axe moved himself over this way. And that is it for the movement phase. At the end of the movement phase, he spent 2 command points on Plague of Flies onto his guy with the flail, meaning that we can only shoot him if he is the closest enemy model. So that is it for the movement phase for the Death Guard. We will come back to you after movement phase for the Astartes. All right, movement phase. My scout over here advanced to the corner over here. My melted guy moved up over here. This scout moved up over here. This bolter guy readied himself, as did this scout over here. This bolter's marine moved up over this way. My heavy bolter guy readied himself, and my leader back over here stood still. My combat specialist up here is going to declare a charge against his Plague Spear over here. Need a 9-inch charge to get in, and I make it with 10 inches. All right, that's it for the movement phase. So into the shooting phase, he has a ready guy over here and he has the initiative, so he is going to fire into my melted guy over here. D6 hits. That's going to be 5 hits. These are going to be wounding on 3s because they're strength 5, toughness 4. So there's going to be 4 wounds. Remember your dice, Phil. All right, so we've got 4 AP -1, so 4 4-up saves. Failed them all, so 1 injury roll, and he is out of action. All right, so now my heavy guy back here is going to shoot into his Plague Spewer. 3 shots, hitting on 4s because of him being obscured. All right, getting 2 hits, strength 5, looking for 4s to wound. Getting 1 wound, AP -1, so 1 4-up save. No, goes through, disgustingly resilient. No, goes through, injury roll, +1 because of the one he already has. And he is out of action. All right, so none of the rest of the readied guys can actually see anyone that they can shoot at, since he's not the closest to anyone, and he is in combat over here. So my opponent is going to throw a grenade with his dude bro over here through the window at my guy over here. So he's obscured, so he's going to be hitting on a 4. That is a hit. Strength 6, right? So looking for a 3 to wound. No, no wound. All right, he's actually going to spend a command point to reroll that into a wound. AP -1, so looking for a 5-up save. Yeah, with the fill phase. Woo! All right, that's it for the shooting phase because no one else can see anyone. So into the fight phase. My combat specialist here is going to attack into his guy with the Plague Spewer. So I'm going to have 5 attacks because he's got 3 base for two base for being 4 attacks. I'm sorry, 2 base for being a sergeant, 1 for the chainsword, 1 for the combat specialist. So these are going to be hitting on 3s. All right, getting 2 hits. These are going to be wounding on 5s because he's T5. Getting no wounds. And now he's going to attack back. That is a hit. That is a wound. That is a save. He does have Death to the False Emperor there, so he gets another attack, so that is a hit. That is not a wound, though. Plague Knife, he gets to reroll that 1 into a wound. But I make the save. All right, so that is the end of the turn here for, that is the end of the turn. No morale phase has to be taken for anybody. So now we're gonna roll for initiative for turn 3. I roll a 3, my opponent rolls a 5. He gets to go first. So at the beginning of the movement phase, I'm going to use the special tactic that occurs during the ambush mission for defenders. I spend a command point. Now what I do is I roll a d6, and on a 6, this model is removed from play and counts as having escaped. So looking for a fill face. No fill face. All right, movement phase. He charged into him. He stayed in combat, and this guy over here is going to charge, jumping through the window into my scout over here. I'm going to throw a crack grenade as Overwatch, looking for a 6. Show me that fill face. Nope, no fill face there, so his charge distance is totally in. All right, movement phase for the Adeptus Astartes. He is locked in combat over here. He is going to stay in combat. These guys over here, all of them advanced up this way, rolling really well. And then he is going to, he also advanced. My tactical marine over here is going to charge into his Plague Spear over here. His charge roll, 6 inches, might get him in. All right, he was just out, so I'm going to spend a command point to reroll that. That is even worse. All right, so that's it for the movement phase. Into the shooting phase, no one can shoot because I got charged over here, meaning I can't shoot my pistol and he does not have a pistol. So we will come back to you with the fight phase. All right, so starting out the fight phase, his fighter over here with the flail is going to attack into my combat specialist over here. So he's the zealot specialist, so he has +1 attack, +1 strength. So now his flail gets D3 attacks per attack. He has 2 base, +1 for the zealot, so he has 3D3 attacks that are going to be coming in. So he's going to have 3, 6, 7 attacks coming in. We'll come back to you with that. All right, so these are going to be hitting on 3s. Okay, so getting 3 hits. Strength is strength +1 because of zealot. +2 for the flail, so it's going to be strength 8. Oh no, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. He kept saying 7, and I don't know why I was doing that. Strength 7, looking for 3s to wound. Getting rerolling wounds rolls of 1 because of plague weapons. So that's going to be 2 wounds at AP -2. So looking for 5 ups. Not getting either of them, so damage 1 now because of the new FAQ on the flail. So 1 injury roll here. A wound. He's actually going to spend his command point to reroll that. Into another wound. All right, so now his fighter over here is going to attack into my scout. He's got 3 attacks because he's a combat specialist. These are going to be hitting on 4s because of it being unwieldy. All right, so all hits, doesn't make a difference. Wounding on 2s because strength ×2. So that is going to be 3 wounds there. AP -3. Oh, so those are just all going to go through. So what's the damage on this?
D6 each.
D6 damage. So we'll roll all 3 to see which one's the highest. So 3 damage is going to be the highest. So we've got 3 injury rolls to make over here. Take the highest. He hits a wound. All right, so now the Plague Spewer guy gets to attack in over here. That is a hit. Death of False Emperor. That is 2 hits. That is 2 wounds. 2 3-up saves. Failing 1 of them, so injury roll +1 because of that in there. +1 is 4. He is out of action. And now my scout gets to fight back over here. 1 attack hitting on a 3. That is not a hit.
Still over my
All right, so at the end of the turn here in the morale phase, I've got 1 guy with an injury with a flesh wound over here. I've lost 3 guys, so he can fail his nerve test. So rolling a 1, he is good to go. And that is going to be it for turn 3. So we will now roll to see who has the initiative going into turn 4. Getting 6 to his 7. I finally rolled something like above a 5, and so does he. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the Death Guard here on turn, turn something. Turn 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, turn 4. All right, so the movement phase here for the Death Guard, he's going to stay in combat. His Plague Spitter is going to ready, and his guy with the flail is going to charge into both my scout here and my tactical marine there. So we roll now for Overwatch. 2 crack grenades going to be thrown in there, looking for 6s. Show me them Phil versus. Getting none. Adds up to a 6. Doesn't make a difference. So his charge distance is totally in. Wow. Really, really in. All right, movement phase here. My scout here advanced up this way. This scout fell back from there, jumping through the window, jumping through the giant hole that he left in the window there. My heavy bolter guy readied himself. My leader advanced up over this way, and this tactical marine readied himself. So that is going to be it for the movement phase. We'll come back to you with the shooting phase. All right, so now his Plague Spewer is going to fire into my heavy bolter and my Dubro over here, and my scout leader. So he is going to roll D6 to see how many hits. 1 hit. So is it going to go into the heavy bolter guy? Oh, he's going to spend his last command point to re-roll that. 5 hits. That's much better. So we're going to put 3 into the 2 into my scout leader, 3 into my heavy weapons guy. So here we go. 3 attacks. That's 3 wounds onto him there. So we're just going to do the 3. Getting my dice. 3 AP -1, so 3 4-up saves. Failing all of them. He gets an injury wound. Injury wound. And then into my leader. That is going to be 2 wounds. Failed both of them. Oh, those would have been great from a tactical marine, but he's got scout armor, and he is out of combat. All right, so my heavy specialist here is going to shoot into his guy over here. So I've got 3 attacks here. These are going to be hitting on 4s because he's obscured.
Damn, Phil.
Wow. And now my bolter bro here is going to fire into him over there. That is 1 hit. That is not a wound. And he's going to throw a crack grenade through the window at my dude bro over there. That is not a hit. And that is it for the shooting phase. Into the fight phase, this guy with the flail here is going to attack into my 2 guys over here. So he's the zealot specialist, so he's got +1 attack. These are going to be D3 attacks each. So he's going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks each, so we'll come back to that. All right, so he's going to have 4 attacks into my marine over here and 3 into the scout. So we're going to go ones into the marine here. These are going to be hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. These are now going to be strength 7, so wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound. Rerolling 1s because of plague weapon. That's going to be 2 wounds. AP minus 2, so looking for 5 ups. Failing both of them. Injury roll. He is wounded. And now into the scout. That is going to be 2 hits. That is going to be 2 wounds. Making 1, but still failing 1. And he is wounded. All right, so I'm going to do both their attacks back there. Because they are Space Marines, they've got transhuman physiology. So we're going to have 2 attacks, 1 from each of them, hitting on 3s. Yeah, okay. Oh, all right, so now I have to take my nerve tests at the end of the turn here. So I've got a nerve test on this guy who fell back. I've got 4 guys out of combat right now. So that's 4 plus 4 is 8. That's a fail. Reroll it because they shall know no fear. Nope, he is going to be shook. This guy over here, there's now, what is it, 1, 4, plus 1 because of him being shaken. He's good. My sergeant, my regular bolter bro there, fails that. He's good. And then my heavy bolter bro fails that, but he's good on that one. So I've got 1 guy that is shaken. Everyone else is not. So now we will roll to see who has initiative. I rolled a 4. He rolls a 3. So we will come back to you after a movement phase for the Dark Angels or the Astartes here on turn 1. Yep. Turn 5. Sorry, at the end of 4 with the C, the attacker has to roll to see if we go on to another turn. We don't.
Game over.
All right, game over. Never mind. No other turn 5s. And this is a Death Guard victory because the victory points, the way that works for this game is it's win or lose. And if I got more guys off of the table than didn't, I would have won. And since I didn't, he wins. So I got approximately 0 people off the table. My opponent did a fantastic job of keeping me from getting where I needed to go. So that was a ton of fun. I had a lot of fun with this. There were points in the beginning where it didn't look great. And now, you know, but in the end, that's just the way it works. So my opponent couldn't roll to take my guys off the tables. There was a lot of guys who had injuries there. But then again, I couldn't roll to get my guys off the table. So in the end, it worked out exactly, I guess, the way that Papa Nurgle wanted.
Of course.
Of course. So I had a ton of fun. I have been having a ton of fun with Kill Team. It is so much fun. I had a ton of fun. I hope you guys all did as well. I have been Phil the Glacial Geek as always. My opponent's been Jason. And until next time, have fun.